Good afternoon. I'm Elaine Bergstrom, and I welcome you to Art Talks. This is the second recording today. Half of it got blanked out, so I'm going to try and repeat what I had talked about this morning. If you caught part of it, I apologize that most of the demonstration was blocked out. So I have an upcoming class for drawing. It's always been called the first series, Draw What You See. And my goal is always to teach participants and students how to get things down on paper. No matter if you only draw stick figures, you can learn to draw. And there's a bunch of series of different types of drawing. And in the fall, I hope to teach a class at the Pittsburgh Osher program. And it's being developed as an expressive lines for drawing, which will be looser and freer, and you'll be able to use kind of mixed media drawing tools, maybe some ink, maybe some watercolor. So stay tuned for that. But if you have interest in the drawing class, it's going to start in 2 weeks on a Tuesday afternoon, March 16th, between 1:30 and 3:30 p.m. So what I have in front of me is a little tree made out of stones, and it's very dear to me because my youngest Brandon bought it for me. But it makes for a great drawing and a free expressive drawing. So today I want to go back over a blind contour drawing with you to get you started. It works along with becoming mindful. And if you've taken my breath brush meditation class, you can practice this as a mindful. It also can encourage you to warm up before you start painting. And you can even use a brush, which I'll demonstrate later. So there's lots of different reasons for drawing. Most of us want to draw to be free. We like to sketch the outdoors. We like to just sketch. Other of us practice drawing to put a drawing on a canvas or a piece of paper to create a painting. So all of these things are steps for you to practice. So this little tree of stones has beautiful wires. And when I teach this, I suggest that you do not use a pencil and start erasing. A blind contour drawing is basically that you're looking at the subject and you're never looking at the painting or drawing, the drawing that you're doing. You should be free enough to just observe what you're drawing. It teaches us what is that subject about and what do I have to pay attention to. This also is just a warm up for you. So it can be a funky looking drawing. The purpose is not for it to look real at this point. And you'll find that you can have really expressive lines in it. So this is one of the blind contour drawings I did earlier, and I'm going to actually redraw it so you can see how I process this. So you want to pick possibly the top of the subject that you're drawing, and obviously if you don't have this, pick a plant. Pick a cup, pick anything in front of you. Later I'll show you drawing 3 paintbrushes. So I'm going to kind of tilt it. Hopefully you can see it. And I'm not going to make it bigger because for some reason when I did that, that's what caused me some problems this morning. So let's begin. And I'm going to start right up at the top. And a contour drawing is where I'm going to actually go around it. I can go back and forth, but I always keep the pen or marker tool adhered to the paper. And I'm more concerned about learning about where I'm going, and it can be not proportional, but you can give it a try. So I'm going to start up here and just continue kind of drawing around. I wanted to connect that. So I'm moving. I always describe this in class like a turtle. And notice that I can go back and forth if I need to. What's nice is there's a little bit of wire, which is kind of helping me connect what I want to draw. But notice the difference. And if you're new to drawing, you may not notice, but these lines are what we call loose, and they're kind of expressive lines. When we draw and try and be much more realistic, it becomes harder. So if you're having a really difficult time when you practice this, you can cover your hand so that you're not really watching. I'm going a little bit faster, but you should be like a turtle, going very slow. And when you see curves or angles, try and capture them. Usually what comes next after this kind of drawing is a drawing that is called a modified contour drawing. And it's basically where you can look more up and down at your drawings. So I kind of tilted this. And anybody can do this with ease. The goal again is, oops, I just let go. Oops. So try and stay connected to the page. And, it's being mindful, just focusing. I know many of you tell me how relaxing doing art and drawing is, because we forget everything else because we're thinking about this focus. It has so many wonderful little rocks in it to create. So here is a blind contour. And remember, just quick little tips, look only at, your subject, keep your pen or marker glued to the paper, and know that you can go back and forth with lines. So here you can see it. This is the one I did this morning for the first recording, and here's the one I just did. I think I did a video on Atagami earlier this year. And here again, let's try and pick out a couple of brushes and show you, you can practice this with really anything. So just gonna kind of lay these down and just start at the top of the brush. And of course, I'm inclined to want to draw everything. Obviously, my proportions are not going to be correct, but what I'm learning about is the subject. And sometimes for me, it's just to get my right side of my brain working with my left. So there's no way really, well, if I came down here, there's a slight connection. It's not super accurate. And my brush is turned, so my what I'm going to see is slightly different, but I'm still being a turtle. And when I did this morning, just going to leave that there, and I did it flat, a little bit flatter, I didn't realize this brush was like an hourglass. So, I became kind of more observant about it. This brush as well. But I'm going to stay up here for a while. And I would suggest you really slow down in this practice. Notice that my size and variation is, really, really different. But voila, there I have it. Now, when I get to a modified drawing, that's when I do basically the same thing, except I can stop and look up and look down at the drawing to fix it. And that's a technique that you always see artists doing when they're drawing. They look up, they look down, especially outdoors or sketching. We always want to see where we're at. But if you want to try it, just make sure you keep your pen or marker adhered to the paper, but now you can use your eyes. So the first one is blind because you're just drawing without looking. And it's quite fun. So I want to go back to the little tree, because earlier I did it with a brush. Now you could use watercolors, ink. I used ink. And just show you that the process works no matter what you're using. So I'm just going to wet my brush a little bit, re-tilt my tree. I guess it's hard to see on the screen. Load it with some liquid ink or some liquid paper, whatever you have. And notice I'm moving this time, kind of going left around. So you could do that as well. Trying, like you, not to look at what I'm drawing, just to feel it. And learn about this little tree. And I do forget, my mind, my bucket list. I really do. And I know that I was, so much calmer this morning. And now I have lots to finish to do for the afternoon. So this does help me kind of focus, get away from the stress a little bit. I hope you're drawing and painting alongside me. And of course, if you're new to drawing, definitely try this. I think I talked about earlier, oops, let's keep that connected. It's just so rote for me. Sometimes it's hard to practice that. So that's my example of a blind contour with ink, but I would definitely slow it down It's very different than a gesture drawing, which is quick and fast. So here you can see